Hello and welcome to today's spot trading webinar on YouTube. My name is Elliot and I'm a business development analyst here at Synology UK, and today's webinar is going to be on achieving fast and cost-effective storage with Synology's hard drive range. So on today's agenda, we're going to be looking into our storage manager. I'm going to show you how you can set up flexible volumes in DSM. We'll also have a section dedicated towards data management. So I'm going to show you how you can look after your data in our storage manager, and also show you some of our features of our storage analyzer, which can help you manage your data a bit more closely as well. We're also going to be diving into different hard drive options that are on the market today. I'm going to detail how to choose the right hard drive for your applicable solutions, and we're also going to dive into SATA versus SAS and when to use either or. And then to wrap it all up, we're going to dive into our Synology hard drive range. We're going to briefly gloss over their specs and features, and we're also going to be comparing a Synology all-in-one solution to one of our competitors, which is available on the market today. So why exactly are we doing this webinar? Well, more and more we see customers come to us and ask, what is the best solution for my use case? So the goal of this webinar is to provide customers with a new methodology for building their solutions, which is what we like to call reverse engineering. The main principle of this is to identify the exact use case of your applicable scenario before choosing a NAS or any hard drives or anything of the sort. So what exactly is your end goal? Are you planning on using your solution as a large backup server? Are you planning on using it for surveillance monitoring, virtualization, or as a mail server? And then once we've identified our end goal, we then need to identify key targets that you'd like to hit, such as usable capacity after RAID and your network capabilities if you'd like multiple users accessing your NAS at any given time for starters. So once we've identified our use case and our key targets, next steps, what we can do is we can start speccing out the solution. To do this, what we need to do is we need to look into the best NAS for your use case. Should we be using SATA versus SAS hard drives, or we need any additional add-in cards, for example? So in this webinar, we're going to be covering the storage side of speccing out a solution by highlighting what key aspects you should be taking into account when choosing the best storage configuration for your use case. So first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to dive into two of the file systems which are currently available on a Synology NAS, which are BTRFS and ext4. So first, we're going to be talking about BTRFS. So BTRFS's main features are that it features share folder cloning. So it allows you to create a clone of a share folder near instantaneously. It also allows you to utilize our point-in-time backup package, snapshot replication. BTRFS also features data corruption detection, so it's able to automatically detect corrupted data files within its metadata. And BTRFS also features self-healing, which can recover data using supported RAID volumes. Self-healing can be very useful in most given scenarios. Say if you're a photographer who likes to keep their pictures or their photos backed up to their Synology NAS for 5 or more years, you might start seeing errors on your file system. So self-healing can actually be very pivotal in preventing this for you. Next, we're going to quickly dive into ext4. So ext4 is a original Linux integration. So all Synology units currently support ext4 as it's the key file system for Linux, which DSM was built upon. ext4 does have high performance in certain scenarios compared to BTRFS, and we're going to be diving into more about that in just a second. And BTRFS ext4 also features lower hardware requirements than BTRFS as well. So when should you be using BTRFS or ext4? So BTRFS you should be using to store your critical business data. You should be using it for general file sharing. You should be using it to set up your iSCSI LUNs and many more scenarios that I wouldn't be able to fit in one PowerPoint slide. So essentially the kind of golden rule we have here at Synology is if you don't know if you should be using BTRFS or ext4, you should probably be going with BTRFS. It does offer you a large modicum of benefits over using ext4. So BTRFS was definitely the way to go in most given scenarios. Where ext4 does edge out BTRFS a little bit is if you're utilizing it with packages that would benefit from that little bit of lower latency. So stuff like our surveillance station, our mail server, and our databases. This only really comes into account when you're using them in such large environments though. To say if you have a really large surveillance station set up that you'd like to look into, you have quite a few thousand users on your mail server, or you want that low latency for your databases as well, then using ext4 would be the preferred method for you. Just to quickly highlight as well, BTRFS's copy on write functionality can be disabled when creating a share folder, and the copy on write is what gives it a is what gives ext4 a little bit of an edge in those sort of scenarios that I went over a little bit just a second ago. As BTRFS's latency is a little bit higher due to the shift out of the copy on write, but that can very easily be disabled when creating a share folder write, as you can see on the screen right here. Awesome. So here is an overview of our current Synology unit lineup. What we're going to be doing on this slide is going into exactly what units currently support BTRFS. And as you can see, it is pretty much most of our units from our value series upwards. So if you're looking to purchase a Synology unit sheerly due to the fact of utilizing BTRFS, then look for our value series units and above. And yeah, you should be all good to go. Next, we're going to be diving into our storage manager. So utilizing our storage manager, you can create different types of RAID and non-RAID configurations. You can also use it to monitor storage usage. It can also be used to inspect drive health, and our storage manager does also feature advanced options as well, such as setting up SSD caching. So here we have a base overview of the structure of our storage manager. So first you have your RAID groups. So essentially what your RAID groups allow you to do is when a single RAID has a restriction on the number of drives it can utilize, RAID groups allow you to essentially combine multiple RAIDs together, thus the increasing capacity and redundancy. Our storage pools are then built on top of that. So drives can be aggregated into a storage pool, which can then be protected by RAID. Our volumes provide basic storage space on your Synology NAS, and then our share folders are our file level locations of your data. The analogy I like to give is that our storage pools are essentially like the land you might own. Our volumes are the buildings you might put on that land, and our share folders would be essentially the people living in those buildings. So what we're going to do now is dive into a quick storage manager demo. What I'm going to show you is how to set up a flexible storage pool in DSM. Our flexible storage pools are actually the only way you can utilize the RAID groups as I talked about just a second ago. So if you're looking to set up something using RAID groups, then our flexible storage pool would be the way to go. And I'm also going to show you how to create multiple volumes on that storage pool as well. So here we are within DSM. What this is a NAS that we had running in the office on the day, so I just hijacked that for the purposes of doing this demo. So what we're going to do is we're going to head over to our storage manager in just a second. And then what we're going to do is head over to our storage pools, and we're going to click on Create. So here we have two options available to us. We have our better performance option. So what our better performance option allows us to do is create a storage pool that we can mount a single volume to. So the benefits of this is that what we can do is we can mount a single volume to it. It will take up the entire capacity of that storage pool, and it will net us better performance for it, just because we're only going to be utilizing the one volume on it. With our high flexibility volume pools, what it allows you to do is it allows you to set up multiple volumes on it, allowing for a bit more flexibility, a bit more granularity when you're setting up your volumes. So what we're going to do is we're going to be using our high flexibility storage pools for today. As you can see here, there is also a large, what you can do here is there's a few customization options. So you can add a storage pool description if you'd like to. You can also view the minimum numbers of drive per RAID for your chosen RAID type. We also have the maximum numbers of drives per RAID as well. As you can see here, these are all the current RAID types that you can use on your Synology NAS. With a few more options being in there as well. There's a bit of a scroll down there which I didn't show. Apologies for that. So once we've happy with our RAID configuration, all we have to do is click next. Next, what we're going to do on this slide, on this screen, is slide over all of the drives that we'd like to use. So what I've done there is just very easily pulled across all of the SATA drives I'd like to use to set up our storage pool. Once we're all happy with that, all we have to do is click on next. We receive a little warning box saying that all the data on these newly added drives will be erased. If we're happy to continue, all we have to do is press an OK. And then once that's all done, all we have to do is press apply. And then once this is done, what it'll do is it'll start verifying those drives in the background for us. Once all those drives have finished their verification, it will read healthy, much like our other two storage pools. And as you can see here as well, as part of our storage pool 3, next to our multiple volume support is actually listed as yes. When we go to say look at our storage pool 1, because that was set up for our better performance storage pool, it's actually listed as no here. So there is a very easily to distinguish key indication right there of how you've set up your storage pools. Now to set up the volumes themselves, all we're going to do is head over to volume. And once we're in volume, all we have to do is head across to create. And what we can do is we can start creating volumes on our new storage pool. So what we're going to do now is click on our storage pool 3 and then go down and press next. We're going to be using our BTRFS file system for the purpose of this demo. So we're going to leave it on the pre-allocated option for us. So we're going to go down, click next. And as you can see here, we can see the name of the storage pool right there that we're using. And we can also give this volume a description if we'd like to. We can also see the total capacity afforded to us as part of the storage pool and the available capacity as well. As you can see here, we can also modify the allocated size in gigabytes to our volume. If you were using our better performance storage, if you're using our better performance volumes, this option would be grayed out to you. So this is only customizable as part of our higher flexibility storage pools when you're creating a volume on those. So once we're happy with that, all we have to do is press next. We can see a brief overview of all the changes we've made, and then all we have to do is press apply. Once that's all done, it will initialize our volume for us. As you can see, it has the exact same status as our storage pool, and just because our storage pool is still verifying the drives in the background, but once that's all done, our volume will also read as healthy, much like our storage pool. So what we're going to very quickly do now is create another volume using up the rest of the space in our storage pool 3. So all we have to do is go through the exact same process we went through just a second ago. We're going to configure in the exact same way. We have our allocated size left right there, and all we're going to do is click on next, press apply, and then there we are. We've created our final volume on this storage pool. Awesome. So yeah, that is how you would go about setting up your storage pool for high flexibility and creating your 2 volumes on it. So just a quick recap of the demo we've just been over. We have set up a flexible storage pool within DSM, and we have also created multiple volumes on that storage pool itself. So now that we've been over our file systems and we've been over how we can set up our storage pools in DSM, next we're going to be diving into what RAID should I be using. So the first RAID we're going to be looking into today is RAID 0. So RAID 0 combines 2 or more drives to increase performance and capacity, but RAID 0 doesn't provide you any redundancy. So make sure you keep that in mind when you are looking to use RAID 0 in the future. So you should, when to use RAID 0, RAID 0 is applicable for databases, smaller production environments, and performance critical applications. Next, we're going to be diving into both RAID 1 and RAID 10. So RAID 1 writes identical data to all drives simultaneously, therefore providing data redundancy. RAID 1 should be used in our 2-bay units or to store mission critical storage, or for mission critical storage, apologies. And next we're going to be diving into RAID 10. So RAID 10 combines the performance of RAID 0 with the redundancy of RAID 1, and it is applicable for the exact same scenarios as RAID 0 is applicable in. So for databases, those production environments, and in performance critical applications. Next, we have RAID 5 and RAID 6. So RAID 5 provides fault tolerance and increased read performance. As long as you have a minimum of 3 drives, it is more suited for all-rounder systems that are larger than 2 bays. And then we have RAID 6, which is similar to RAID 5, but provides an additional layer of striping and can sustain 2 drive failures versus RAID 5's 1. RAID 6 can be used for data backup appliances, archive storage, and is really good for read-only file servers. So if you're looking to something to set up your Synology NAS for an application that requires lower latency and fast write speeds, you shouldn't really be looking to use RAID 5 or RAID 6 just because of the increased write speeds that both of these applicable RAIDs have. So we wouldn't recommend using them to set up, say, a database server. You should probably look into something that's going to net you that lower latency instead. So what RAID should you be using in regards to Synology packages? So here we have a graph detailing the random read-write IHOPs for each of the applicable RAIDs we've just been over. So if you're looking to set up an email server, using something like RAID 10 would be beneficial to you. If you're looking to set up, say, Synology Drive or set up a generic file server, then using RAID 5 would be very beneficial to you. As I mentioned previously, if you're looking to use one of our 2-based systems, then RAID 1 is very applicable to you. And if you're looking to set up surveillance station on your Synology NAS, then you should be looking towards RAID 6. Next, we're going to be diving into a quick RAID cost per terabyte scenario. So say you are a video editor working from home, you're after a home backup solution, and you would like 50 terabytes of local hot storage. So here is the RAID cost per terabyte. So essentially what I did here was I marked out some 10 terabyte drives that are very readily available on the market today and figured out the cost per terabyte for each of the applicable RAID groups. We didn't include RAID 1 because it wouldn't be very suitable for our scenario in the first place. So we have RAID 0 here being the evidential cheapest, but with RAID 0 we don't offer any redundancy. So make sure you keep that in mind. RAID 5, you obviously need that extra drive. RAID 6, you need those extra 2 drives for the RAID. And then RAID 10, you'd essentially need double the drives as usable storage. So if you are looking at a sheer RAID cost, if you're looking at this from a sheer price standpoint, then using RAID 5 would be the way to go, as it would be the cheapest option that does actually net you some redundancy. But if you're looking at it from more of a performance standpoint, then using RAID 10 would be better for you, as you do obviously get that increased performance of RAID 0 with that data redundancy of RAID 1. So now that we've been over our file systems and how to choose the right RAID type, next we're going to be looking into how to choose the right hard drive. So what should you be looking for when choosing a hard drive? Well, first of all, you should be looking at the capacity available on that hard drive. You should be looking at its read-write speeds, its failure rating, or MTTF as we call it here at Synology, and its workload rating, which is how much data is your hard drive rated to read and write to itself every single year. So here we have the 2 main hard drive variations that are suitable for use in our solutions, NAS and enterprise drives. So the main difference between NAS and enterprise drives are NAS drives typically feature lower spindle speeds, and they have lower mean time to failure ratings, but they do actually come at a lower cost compared to enterprise drives. Whereas enterprise drives are rated for higher read-write transfers every year. They're rated for higher MTTF times. They typically have additional data protection features, and they also typically feature longer warranties as well. So when should you be using a NAS drive versus an enterprise drive? So NAS drives are extremely applicable for home users. As I mentioned previously, say if you're a photographer or a video editor working from home, then using NAS drives is readily available to you. If you're looking for something for your small business, so say you have a small team of say 5 or 6 people, you're just looking to set up your Synology NAS as a file server, just so you can have additional backups of all of your files off your laptops, then using NAS drives is very, very applicable to you. And NAS drives are also extremely applicable to offsite data backups. So depending on the size of your company itself, if you are looking to house offsite data backups, say you want the data backup to run maybe once a month, then using NAS drives is very applicable to you as well. Now, when to use enterprise drives? Now, enterprise drives should be used for large-scale deployments. So say on-premise full business backups, for any kind of virtualization, and for email servers as well, just because all of those extra features that I mentioned previously would be very key and crucial to you when setting up any given one of these scenarios. Next, we're going to be diving into SATA versus SAS. So the main differences between SATA versus SAS are that SATA drives tend to have faster sequential read-write speeds. They're also typically available in larger capacities compared to SAS drives. They are also typically available at a lower cost than SAS drives. And the main benefits of SAS drives are that SAS drives feature a fully duplex system, meaning that you can send and receive data at the full speeds of the applicable hard drive at the same time. SAS drives also typically feature faster rotational speeds, but because of both of these previously mentioned benefits, they do typically come at a higher cost. So when should you be using SATA versus SAS? So say you have a video editing environment, you have 5 editing suites, you are after 50 terabytes of hot storage and a 450 terabyte archive. Using SATA hard drives is extremely applicable to your scenario, as you'll actually benefit from those high sequential read-write speeds that SATA drives feature. So yeah, if you're looking at it as more of a video editing standpoint, then using SATA hard drives is fully applicable to you. Next, for virtualization. So say you have a developer environment set up, you're looking for about 10 terabytes of storage. Using SAS hard drives is more applicable in this scenario, just because of the SAS drive's fully duplex system. If just so that if you're looking to because of SAS's fully duplex system, you can actually read and write data a lot quickly to your virtual machines. So yeah, using the fully duplex system with the SAS drives will net you more benefits here. Finally, we're going to quickly look into setting up an email server. So say you have an email server set up with 1,000 users, you're roughly inboxing about 5 million emails a day. For this scenario, you should be looking towards using SAS or SAS hard drives or SAS SSDs. Due to the exact same scenario I gave with the virtualization, the fully duplex system of the SAS drives will actually net you more benefit compared to SATA in this scenario, as obviously all of your users will be looking to access all of their email inboxes. They might be looking to download attachments of those emails as well. So using the fully duplex system of SAS drives for your email server is extremely applicable to you. So now that we've been over our file systems, we've looked into our RAID types and we've been over our different hard drive variations. What we're going to do now is dive into how you can essentially use our storage manager and our storage analyzer to manage your data more carefully. So what we're going to be doing now is diving into another storage manager demo. What I'm going to show you how to do is set up scheduled data scrubbing. So with our scheduled data scrubbing, when you configure this to run, essentially what this will do is it will run two different data scrubbing protocols. So first, it will run our file system scrubbing, which will check BTRFS storage pools for any data inconsistencies and will attempt to use a local backup to repair this. We also have RAID scrubbing, which will detect data inconsistencies on storage pools using supported RAID types. If you'd like more information on the supported RAID types, what I can do is I will leave a little link to supported RAID types for our data scrubbing in the notes of my PowerPoint. So if you'd like the slides after this, then what you can do is you can very easily go and view that on our website. We're also going to be quickly diving into how you can configure RAID resync, and we're also going to show you how you can run defragmentation on your volumes as well. So here we are back in DSM, right off the back of our previous storage manager demo. And what we're going to do is head over to our storage pool, head over to data scrubbing. And what we're going to do here is we're going to set a schedule that we'd like our data scrubbing to run on. So as you can see here, we have a wide variety of we have some different options we can key into. So we have our enabled data scrubbing feature. So what we can do here is when we tick the box at the very top, what will allow us to do is set up a frequency of when we'd like our data scrubbing to occur. And then once we set that up, we can set this to run at any given frequency. We can set the start date. And then once we've keyed all that in, we can look into our time session at the very bottom. So as you can see here, what we're going to do is I'm going to set this to repeat monthly. We're going to set the date to the 21st of this month. So on Sunday, what we'll do is it will run for the first time, and then this will repeat monthly for us. Next, what we can do is we can set up time sessions. So as data scrubbing can be a bit of a time-consuming process, mostly due to the amount of data that you might have within your storage pools. What you can actually do is you can set time sessions to suspend data scrubbing within certain hours. So say if your data scrubbing was going to take place on a Monday, say the 21st of the month falls on a Monday, what we can do is we can suspend data scrubbing during our work hours, and we can set it to run outside of our work hours as well. So it's extremely customizable here. Next, what you can do with our data scrubbing is you can actually select the storage pools you'd like it to run on. So say if we wanted it, say we have multiple storage pools set up, if we want our data scrubbing task to run on all of our storage pools, what we can do is we can very easily pick and choose. So instead of setting up individual data scrubbing tasks, what you can do is you can key in all the storage pools that you'd like the data scrubbing to run on. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this up to run on our storage pool free. And once we've done that, as you can see, we get a little bit of a text confirmation right here. So it's scheduled to run on the 21st of March 2021. And once it's done that runtime, it will continue to run on the 21st of every month going forward. Right, now the last thing we're going to look into in our storage manager for this demo is our RAID resync. Oh, apologies, we're going to defragmentation after that. I'm getting ahead of myself. So yeah, we're going to briefly touch on RAID resync. Now what RAID resync allows you to do is it will essentially set speed limits, so it'll kind of throttle the drive usage that are applicable applications take up. So stuff like data scrubbing, RAID repairs, expanding our storage pools, and changing RAID types. They can actually utilize your hard drives enough to almost impact performance a little bit. So what we'd like, so as standard, we actually have our RAID resync options set to lower the impact of overall system performance. This can be very easily changed via this configuration though. What you can do is you can change it so you run RAID resync faster, and you can also set up custom values if you'd like to. So say if you only have one storage pool, it's degraded, you're looking to run that repair process faster, what you can do is you can key this in to run your RAID resync faster. So essentially what it'll do is it'll get our storage pool back up and running for you a lot faster than if you were on that if you were on that first option keyed in there. Perfect. So the last thing we're going to dive into on this demo is our defragmentation process. So to run defragmentation, all we have to do is head over to our volume, choose the volume we'd like to run defragmentation on, and then all we have to do is click on this option right here, which is our file system defragmentation. And all we have to do is run defragmentation right here. So essentially, when you make lots of changes to any given file on your Synology NAS, there's a chance that those little data fragments will start to build up, and much like it would do if on your normal laptop or home PC that you might have. So it's exactly the same kind of process as running it on both of those devices, exactly the same scenario on your Synology NAS as well. So yeah, you want to run your defragmentation fairly often. So all you have to do is very simply run it the exact same way I've showed you there, and our volume will show up saying that it's performing file system defragmentation right there. So the last storage manager demo we're going to dive into today is repairing a degraded storage pool. So here we are back into DSM. We're using the exact same unit I set up our flexible storage pool on. So what I did to simulate our degraded storage pool was I actually removed one of the hard drives that was set up in our RAID 5 configuration. So as you can see here, our volume 3 is now listed, while volume 2 and our volume 3 are listed as degraded, as they were both set up on our storage pool 3. As you can see here, our storage pool 3 is listed as degraded. So what we're going to do to resolve this scenario is essentially use a brand new hard drive that I plugged into the machine to repair our RAID array. So as you can see right here, I have drive 5 listed there, which isn't initialized. It isn't being used by either of our storage pools either. So all we're going to do is head back over to our storage pool. We're going to click on action and click on repair. Then all we have to do is drag across that brand new hard drive, and DSM will start the rebuild process for us. Once we're happy with all this, all we have to do is press apply, and then our rebuild process will start. Awesome. So as you can see now, our storage pool 3 has started its repairs, and yeah, once this is done, our storage pool 3 will be fully recovered. So in those last two storage manager demos, we covered scheduling data scrubbing. We also talked about how you can utilize RAID resync and how you can also go about recovering your storage pools within DSM. For the last part of our data management section, we're going to be diving into our storage analyzer. So our storage analyzer allows you to view overall data usage trends. You can also create tasks to analyze storage spaces, and you can also generate detailed reports on volume usage. You can also set schedules to receive automatic reports. Now, our storage analyzer can be very useful for IT admins. Say if you're trying to figure out exactly which share folders are taking up a lot of storage on your Synology device, our storage analyzer is very pivotal to finding out this information. You can also very easily view duplicate files on your Synology NAS with our storage analyzer as well. I'm going to show you how you can view those and how you can delete those as part of our storage analyzer demo, which is coming up right now. So as part of our Storage Analyzer demo, we're going to be diving into our Storage Analyzer interface. I'm also going to show you how you can create a report task with our Storage Analyzer. We're going to cover our report structure overview, and I'm also going to show you how you can delete duplicate files within our Storage Analyzer as well. So here we are on a different Synology NAS. So what we're going to do is we're going to head over to our Storage Analyzer. What we're going to do here is we're actually going to set up the storage usage report. So all I'm going to do is call our report storage report. I'm going to key in my own work email address for this. So when I want to receive, when those automatic reports are generated, it will send those reports directly to me. If you'd like to receive these automatic reports, make sure you follow the prompt on screen to make sure that you have email, that you have enabled email notifications within your control panel beforehand. So here we have all of the report types that we'll be receiving as part of our report overview. So this is very customizable. If there's certain things on here that you don't want to see, you can very easily untick these boxes and they won't be generated alongside the report. On this page, we can generate the report schedule. So we can set the schedule for when we'd like the report to run. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this run on a Saturday. Here we can select the share folders that we'd like to be part of the report. So you can either select individual share folders, or we have a nice option at the bottom of this window saying that it will automatically include all existing and future share folders that we add. So that can be very key and useful. So here we have our duplicate files. So here we can customize exactly what our storage analyzer will detect as a duplicate file. So what we can do is we have it set up by default to ignore modified times, but we'd like it to take into account its file names. So any file that is generated on a Synology NAS with the exact same name, we'll be able to see those as part of our storage report. Here we get a final brief overview of all the changes that we've made. Once we're happy with those, all we have to do is press apply. As you can see here, we have our storage report created. Now you can actually run these storage reports anytime you'd like to. All you have to do is simply right click, go to generate report now, and it will start running your storage report for you. It'll take a few seconds to run for us. So once this is run, what we're going to do is we're going to dive into the general report overview itself. A few more seconds and we should be there. There we go. So all we have to do now is we can head over to report, view historical reports, and then we can view the report itself. What this will do is it'll prop up a new window for us and it'll give us a detailed overview of all of the key factors that we want to be available to us in our report. So at the very top, what we can do is we can scroll through the share folders and we can see which one of the users on our Synology NAS are taking up storage space on each given one of our share folders themselves. On the pane below, we can see the files by owner. So we can see exactly which one of our users has the file count for each of our users in our applicable share folders as well. Down below that, we have volume usage, so the total amount of storage space that has been used as part of our volumes. We also have our share folders right here, which goes into how much, essentially the percentage of used volume space has gone towards each of our share folders as well. We have below this, we have our files by group. So we can very easily see our documents, our videos, our pictures, and see exactly what's taking up that much storage on each one of our share folders. We also have below this duplicate file candidates. So this is all the duplicate files that are currently on our Synology NAS. So if we have, say, one or two files which have the exact same file name, then we can actually view those right here. We have our larger files, so these will be our largest files that are on our Synology NAS. We have our least recently modified files, and then finally we have our most recently modified files. And you can generate and download CSV reports for all of these. So if you'd like to view these in Excel really nice and easily, then you can do that. So the final part of this demo, what I'm going to show you to do is how to actually delete those duplicate files directly using the storage analyzer. So if we go back a second and we look, we can actually come up to this pane right here, which gives us a bit more of a graphical overview of exactly what's being used where, much like our report does. We can see the user quota, we can see the different file types right here as well. And if we head down to duplicates, we can actually see all the duplicate files listed here as well. So to delete duplicate files, all you simply have to do is click on the tick boxes, and then all you have to do is head across to action, and then you can delete duplicate files right here. directly in our storage analyzer, and it will delete those files for you. So yeah, that is it for our storage analyzer today. So in our storage analyzer, what we've done is we've created a report task. We've also reviewed the contents of this report task, and we've also gone about the process of deleting duplicate files in our storage analyzer as well. The last part of our webinar today is going to be on our Synology HAT 5300 series. So a brief overview of our HAT 5300 series. They are available in 8, 12, and 16 terabyte capacities. Our HAT 5300 series features persistent write cache technology. It also has enterprise reliability and durability, and is also made for usage in our own Synology units, custom tailored by Synology. Here we have the key benefits of our HAT 5300 series. So our HAT 5300 series receives automatic firmware updates through DSM. It is also optimized for usage in our Synology NAS, so it features up to 23% faster sequential reads in our own NASs. It's also gone through rigorous validation, and it also features impressive durability for 24/7 environments. The last key benefit we have listed here is its consistent performance scaling. So our HAT 5300 series hard drives have been tuned to deliver up to 23% high sustained sequential read performance in multi-user environments as well. Here we have our direct comparison of our all-in-one Synology solution compared to a market competitor of ours. So what we've done here is we have configured a apples to apples comparison of our own Synology solution versus a solution from one of our competitors. So we spec'd out an RS3621XS Plus with 12 of our 12 terabyte hard drives, with some additional RAM upgrades, and we've also thrown in a support contract in there for good measure. And as you can see directly on the comparison, the total for our Synology solution is €7,165, whereas the direct comparison with our competitor brand is €19,922, which is a price increase of 278%. So yeah, you get all those awesome key benefits that I mentioned previously on those two other slides, for a significantly reduced cost when you are comparing a all-in-one Synology solution compared to a solution available from one of our competitors today. So webinar takeaways. So what I'm hoping you can take away from this webinar is that you know which hard drive to use and when, you know which file system suits your individual use cases, you have a good understanding of the different costs of different RAID types, and you've also received a little bit of insight into a all-in-one Synology solution versus one of our competitor solutions out there on the market today. So upcoming webinars, we have the first installment of our expert series coming up and towards the end of April. So it's going to be on navigating the changing data landscape with Synology solutions. So if your business is focused around the educational sector, this is definitely going to be something you want to hop in and jump in on, as we're going to be diving into exactly how you can utilize your Synology NAS and our own Synology packages in the best way in your educational environment. Right, I'd like to thank you all very much for joining me on this webinar today. I hope it's been very informative for you. As I mentioned previously, be sure to jump in on our upcoming webinar on the 22nd of April, which is going to dive into exactly how you can use our Synology NASs in the educational sector to the most benefit. So yeah, I hope you've all enjoyed the session, and thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much, everyone. If you're interested in the slides, please feel free to email us at uk_sales@synology.com. And what we can do is we can individually send out the slides to you if you'd like them. We will be generally sending them out as well anyway. So if you'd like to view the slides themselves, please feel free to let us know. And if you have any last minute questions, please feel free to throw them in the Q&A. We're going to be sending out a webinar email a wrap up email, apologies. So if you have any last minute questions you'd like to throw in there, anything you'd like answered, be sure to throw it in the Q&A section quickly. And what we'll do is we'll make sure to highlight those in our follow-up email. Awesome. Yeah, thank you all very much for joining. Hope it was very informative for everyone. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the room open for another minute or two. Like I said previously, if you have any more questions, just feel free to email and put them in our Q&A section, and we'll be sure to follow up with you. The email for the slides, it is uk_sales@synology.com. I believe we do also send the slides out as part of our follow-up email, so you'll be receiving them anyway, but if you'd like them to be sent to you individually, just feel free to email in requesting for the slides, and we'll be sure to get those to you. Oh, yes, I can do. Just give me 1 second. There you go. Awesome. I'll give you a few seconds to take note of that email address, and then what we'll do is we'll close down the webinar. If you have any follow-up questions, feel free to email us. Awesome. Well, thank you all very much for joining. What we're going to do is we're going to close down the room now. If you have any follow-up questions on the webinar itself, please feel free to email in at uk_sales@synology.com. You can also feel free to request the slides. We will be sending out a follow-up email off the back of this, going over a few of the questions in the Q&A panel. So yeah, I'd like to thank you all very much for joining, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your Thursday. I hope you have a lovely Friday, and you all have a great weekend. Thank you.